Warning: this video contains footage of the terrorist attacks that occurred on September 11, 2001. Therefore, this content may be not suitable for some viewers. September 11, 2001. For most people in America, this was supposed to be just another regular day. For many New Yorkers, this meant eating breakfast, getting dressed, and driving to work. Nobody expected that this morning would end up as one of the biggest tragedies in American history. While everyone was living their day-to-day life, 4 groups of terrorists managed to hijack 4 planes. In total, there were 19 of those men who were on a suicide mission. They had only one goal in mind, and that was to make America bleed. One plane was crashed into the Pentagon, which took the lives of 184 people. Another plane was captured by the terrorists, and it is believed that it was supposed to hit either the US Capitol or the White House. But the brave passengers fought back, and the plane crashed, which resulted in 40 deaths. But the most horrific attacks happened in New York. 2 planes hit the Twin Towers, which was absolutely devastating. The buildings were extremely damaged, and eventually they collapsed. But before that happened, many people were trapped by the flames, and in this hopeless situation, they had to make a truly scary choice. Either get burned by the raging flames, or jump off the building into certain death. Around 2,750 innocent people died that day in New York. But why did this happen? Who was responsible for the event known as 9/11? In this video, we'll take a closer look at the story of the terrorist attacks that devastated the entire world on September 11, 2001. When you hear about 9/11, chances are that you immediately think about Osama bin Laden. This man was the leader of the militant Islamic organization known as Al-Qaeda, and needless to say, he absolutely hated America. This resulted from America's presence in the Middle East, the involvement of the United States in the Persian Gulf War, and America's support of Israel. For bin Laden, one thing was clear: America was his enemy. He believed that the United States were responsible for the deaths of his own people, and so he was determined to destroy his foe. Bin Laden was convinced that America wasn't nearly as strong as everyone else thought. He believed that quite the opposite was the case. He viewed the United States as weak, and the bombing of the Marines in Lebanon in 1983, the withdrawal of American forces from Somalia, and the pullout from Vietnam in the 1970s supported his opinion. But bin Laden wasn't the only man who absolutely detested America. A man named Khalid Sheikh Mohammed shared a deep hatred towards the West. He is also known as the principal architect of the 9/11 attacks. In 1996, both men met in Afghanistan. It is believed that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was the one who conceived the attacks and presented them to Osama bin Laden. The leader of Al-Qaeda approved of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed's plan and functioned as the director of the attacks. Bin Laden made sure that the plan became a reality by providing financial support, leadership, and the personnel for the execution of the deadliest terrorist attacks on American soil in the country's history. The 9/11 attacks demonstrated that Al-Qaeda operated on a global scale. The terrorists took flight lessons in the United States, money transfers occurred in Dubai, and all of that was overseen in Afghanistan by the Al-Qaeda leaders. In the German city Hamburg was a group of radical Islamists who are also referred to as the Hamburg Cell. In 1999, they met with an Islamist militant in a train. There, they discussed the idea to fight the jihad in Chechnya. The militant made sure that the group got in touch with an Al-Qaeda operative who lived in Germany. Due to difficulties to get to Chechnya, he suggested to go to Afghanistan instead. In 1999, the group decided to leave Germany for Afghanistan in order to find Al-Qaeda. When the men finally met bin Laden, they managed to impress him thanks to their Western education, which made them better suited for the job. One member of the Hamburg Cell, whose name is Mohammed Atta, would later become the lead hijacker, and bin Laden himself appointed him to head operation. But before the execution of the attacks, the terrorists went to the United States in advance. There, some of them took commercial flight training in order to be able to carry out the devastating attacks. Atta knew that he had to communicate in a coded way to remain undercover. So, he wrote via email to his quote-unquote girlfriend Jenny, who was in reality Ramzi bin al-Shibh, another member of the Hamburg cell. On August 29, 2001, Atta called bin al-Shibh and told him that he was trying to solve a riddle. He said, 2 sticks, a dash and a cake with the stick down. What is it? Bin al-Shibh understood that Atta was trying to tell him that the attacks would happen on September 11, 2001. The 19 terrorists formed 4 groups with at least one flight-trained hijacker in each group. In the early morning hours of the day of the attacks, the men boarded 4 planes and managed to take control. And just minutes away, many innocent people would face death, trauma and loss. No one expected that this day would be forever remembered as one of the biggest tragedies in American history. At 8:46 a.m., the first plane crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. At first, it was believed that it was just a horrific accident, but only 17 minutes later, the second plane was piloted into the South Tower. From that moment on, it was clear that America was under attack. Both of the 110-story towers were severely damaged, and because of the jet fuel, a devastating inferno erupted and trapped a lot of people inside the building. This forced many of them to make a truly nerve-wracking decision: either burn to death or jump off the building. Due to sheer desperation, many chose the latter. And within 1 hour and 42 minutes, both towers eventually collapsed. But unfortunately, that's not all. The third plane that was hijacked was flown into the southwest side of the Pentagon. This took the lives of 184 people. At 10:03 a.m., the fourth aircraft crashed in the Pennsylvania countryside. It is believed that the pilot intended to attack either the White House or the Capitol, but the passengers were informed about what was going on in New York and Washington. They decided to put up a fight and attack the terrorists. This probably saved the lives of many innocent civilians, but still, 40 people died because of the crash. New York suffered by far the most fatalities. In total, the attacks took the lives of 2,977 people and 25,000 were injured and even suffered long-term health problems. Firefighters and the police gave their absolute best to rescue as many people as they possibly could, but in the dangerous chaos, more than 400 of those brave heroes passed away. Clouds of smoke and debris posed a huge danger to thousands of civilians, and in 2018 around 10,000 people were diagnosed with 9/11 related cancer because of the contact with toxic fumes and particles. That day, many died and many people lost loved ones because of the attacks. Furthermore, the infrastructure was severely damaged and the market suffered greatly as well. The cleanup of the World Trade Center site took 8 months, and the overall property and infrastructure damage amounted to at least $10 billion. The destruction of the World Trade Center is estimated to cost unbelievable $60 billion. A lot of workers lost their jobs, but nothing compared to the countless fatalities of innocent people. President Bush's response to the attacks increased his poll ratings from 55 to 90%. He wanted the ones who caused the attacks to face justice. The United States demanded that the Taliban who ruled Afghanistan had to extradite Osama bin Laden. But Al-Qaeda and the Taliban had a close relationship, and so the Taliban refused to cooperate with the United States. Following this, the US responded with the War on Terror in order to depose the Taliban. This resulted in America invading Afghanistan and entering an extremely long conflict. Osama bin Laden was eventually killed on May 2, 2011 by a United States Special Operations Unit. To all of you who lost loved ones on September 11, 2001, I just want to say that I'm deeply sorry for your loss. Rest in peace to every single person who died because of these utterly evil attacks. And rest in peace to all of the fallen heroes who tried to rescue these people. You will never be forgotten.